Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about books. And we're going to start off with the 6 books that I've read so far. Not so far, just all the books that I've read. Here is the stack of books, and then I also have the notebook at the end that I want to show you. I'm just going to go in the order that it's stacked through. So yeah. The first book here is called Ready to Fall. I will link all of the books down below in the description in case you want to look at it or buy it, because I borrowed these from my library in school, so I get to return it. This book is basically about a boy whose mother died when he is really young, and his mom died of a brain cancer. And he was in so much grief that he reimagined that the tumor in her mom's head kind of emerged into his. But later, when he moved into a new school, he met a bunch of new people who were just like him, and another girl who also have some problems with her family situation. And after some accident that happened, he went to the doctor and discovered he has no tumor whatsoever in her brain, and he just realized that everything was imagined. Him being sad about her mom dying isn't going to change the truth. So it's basically a story about a boy getting over the fact that his mom died when he was in a young age. And there's a lot of different interesting concepts and conflicts in this book, which I think is really fun, which I think is really interesting, and you should definitely read it. So that's the first book. The second book is called The Last Telego. I think after I read all the books, I borrowed all of these books in a rush, and it turns out a lot of them, the theme of all of them is trying to let go of some family issues or personal issues. And for this book, just kind of like the last one, the main character in the book, the main character's mother killed the main character's father because he was abusive. And that was just a really big trauma for the main character, and she also have 2 other siblings. And it's basically really big damage to the family, and her mother has to go to jail for this. And as you can see at the title, The Last to Let Go, meaning it's another basically process in the story that tells us how the main character started off being very hopeless, and how she turns out to let go of the grief of losing her father, even though he's abusive, and the fact that her mother killed his father with her own hands. So this is the second book. I really actually recommend this, and these 2 books are both pretty thick, around more than 300 pages, and I thought I would take a long time to read it, but it turns out I think these 2 books are the ones that I read the fastest. So yeah. Comes the third book called Tomorrow When the War Began. It's basically about a group of teenagers. They decided to go out to camp without their parents, and then when they come back from the camp, they realize that their country was attacked. Was under attack, and there was a war going on, so they have to find out ways they could survive and try to find out if their families are still alive. I was kind of disappointed with the ending of this book because it wasn't really a proper ending. It was just like, let's see how they survive after all this and in the future. Another complaint I have is the type of font, and the type, and how the fonts are being arranged. Each line are placed to each other very tightly, which makes it very hard for the readers to read. But anyways, the story is obviously interesting enough to keep me keep reading this, and it's a good book, but I don't recommend it as I recommend the last 2 books. Moving on to the fourth one called The Romantics. This book, as you can see with the cover, It's a rom-com about love told by the perspective of love, which I think is very interesting because it's a really unique point of view from the point of view of actually love, and how the author makes love into an individual character and person, and how love is telling the story of all the characters in the book. So the book is basically about a boy which was heartbroken because his girlfriend cheated on him with his best friend. I mean, yeah, it's basically a very basic story, but I think the author definitely wanted to use the perspective of love to make the story definitely more interesting. The ending of the book was pretty basic, but it's still very heartwarming because, you know, after all of these things that the main character, the boy, went through, after a relationship with a few girls, he finally found the one that he should actually spend his time with, which I think is a pretty good ending. Yeah, and I think it actually has like one of those best endings in all of these books I've read. I mean, obviously because it's a rom-com, but also because of the storyline. So moving on to the next one, the 5th book is called The Symptoms of Being Human. It's one of the first books that I read during the summer break, and it's a story about a gender fluid teenager and how she came out to her parents and to the world, basically. And for those of you who doesn't know what gender fluid is, that it's the kind of person that wakes up every single day feeling differently, range from female to a male. So, for example, I could wake up this morning feeling like I'm 100% female, and the next morning I can feel like a 70% male, that kind of range, which I think is something that I never knew about before I read this book. So this book definitely taught me a lot about LGBTQ community, and yeah. The story ending was also fairly heartwarming. It's basically this character came out to the world and to her family, like her parents, because her parents are actually very narrow-minded, as I would say, and she came out, and she also wrote a blog about how she felt as an individual with this gender fluid situation, and she finally discovered that there's so many people around the world that actually feels exactly the same way that she does, or is just in the same LGBTQ community, and it helped her a lot to become someone that she actually wanted to become. Last but not least, which is the book that I just finished, is called The Line. It's a pretty short story, and I wouldn't call it the most exciting book I've ever read, obviously, but it's basically about a very depressed and corrupted government society, and there was this line between two countries, and one is the main country, the corrupted government story, and the other one is what they call away in the story. And no one has ever been able to cross the line before, but the teenager girl in the story decided that she was brave and she was courageous, that she wanted to discover what is on the other side. So that's all of the 6 books in total that I've read. I hope that my explanation is not too bad, and I hope that you will actually find time to take a look at all these books that I will link in the description. And yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye!